the first chapter of the Nicomachean Ethics, the first moral philosophy textbook in history, Aristotle criticizes some kinds of life as not fitting with the moral life that a good person should live, and in order to fulfill his life as a human being. And one of these kinds of life is the life committed to pleasures, to the search of pleasures, what we would call today hedonism. And he criticizes other kinds of life too as not fitting with the right ultimate end that our lives should have, the fulfillment, happiness of our lives. For example, a life committed to honor or virtue, the political life. And he gives some explanations for these criticisms. But in the case of the life committed to pleasure, he says that it's slavish and suitable to beasts. He doesn't say anything else. Is he underestimating the relevance of a life committed to pleasure as a possible option for the human being? I think that to think that he does that he underestimates this kind of life is a mistake, is actually an underestimation of moral philosophy as it was born with Socrates and passed it on to his disciples Plato and Aristotle. What happened at the birth of moral philosophy with Socrates? It happened that Socrates for the first time saw the human being as different than the entire world of nature and physical necessities. Greek philosophy started as physics, as natural philosophy, focusing on the natural world. In the natural world, everything is necessitated. The stone is not free to fall down or not falling down. The river is not free to flow to the sea down. And everything is necessitated, is a slave, except for the human being. Thanks to what? To the capacity to know the truth. Knowing the truth is like raising up to an entirely different dimension in which we look from the above everything. We judge the tree to be a tree, the river to be a river, and we make a decision. We can, once we are above the necessity, the necessary flowing of everything in natural things, we are free to make a decision about it. So think about it. As animals, we are as slaves of the natural world as everything else. We have appetites, we feel pleasures and pains, and these are instincts that determine our action. And this is what being a slave means for the natural world. Being a beast technically means just acting out of pleasures, instincts, and pain, of course. Aristotle even uses two different Greek terms to indicate the attraction for just the animal pleasure and the rational attraction for the good. So it is still an inclination, but one is embodies the logos, the reason, the other one doesn't. And so when Aristotle looks at the human being, what is actually proper to the human being, which is acting according to the truth that we know, not just according to an instinct of looking for the pleasure that we feel, as other animals do, clearly just acting according to the instinct doesn't even match the definition of the human being. And the ethics is about the human being, the free action that we should perform. So if the free action doesn't even reach the level of a free action, all Aristotle needs to say, just to discard it from the treatise on ethics, on moral philosophy, is to say that that's just beastly, is slavish. That goes back to the realm of physical necessity of nature, doesn't even need to be called human. And that's why this criticism is pretty much all he had to say about this in his ethics.